The famine affecting the Horn of Africa has left millions of people starving, homeless and desperate for help. Massive worldwide aid efforts have raised hundreds of millions of dollars. But the head of one of the world's leading aid organisations, Médecins Sans Frontières, says only a fraction of it is going to Somalia, where it's needed most. Channel 4's Jonathan Rugman reports.
The UN calls Somalia the world's worst humanitarian crisis, where children are starving, where tens of thousands may have died already. But how much of the money raised is reaching those who need it most? In the UK, the Disasters Emergency Committee has raised £57 million from the public in less than 8 weeks. Its appeal is for the hungry across East Africa. But it's told us that only 27% of the money is earmarked for Somalia, the epicentre of this crisis, with over 70% going to Kenya and Ethiopia instead. Most of the famine zone is controlled by these Islamist militants who choose which aid agencies can work there. It's a dangerous place for aid workers to operate. Easier then to help the hungry who have fled here to camps in Kenya or Ethiopia, even if that encourages more Somalis to leave their homes. But the head of the Disasters Emergency Committee says the 27% allocated for Somalia is bumped up by British government money on top.
The 27%, you could interpret that because DFID might have given them more money earmarked for Somalia, so they're able to use more of the DEC money, helping people in Kenya, the 400,000 in the refugee camp in Dadaab. It's intelligent that we let the people on the front line make these decisions, not us sitting in London.
But Mr. Gormley admits that more of Somalia is likely to descend into famine. And the president of the medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières goes much further.
I mean, the kid has, what's the problem?
He's just returned from Somalia, and he's worried that the public isn't being told the truth about an aid operation missing its target.
The public might be under the impression that if they give money to charities, this will solve the crisis, this will save lives.
To a small extent it will, but they have to understand that right now all of the aid that is being delivered around the fringes of the problem. So the people who are able to get to Mogadishu, the people who are able to get to Ethiopia, and the people who are able to get to Kenya are receiving medical care. They're being treated for malnutrition, they're being vaccinated for measles.
There's a hole in the middle.
There's a huge hole in the middle where aid is not getting to, and humanitarian actors have very little access to.
So the money that's been raised by the British public, you're saying that most of it's not going where it's really needed?
At the moment, no. At the moment, the money that is being raised is not getting to the people in South and Central Somalia.
Do you admit that most of the money that the Disasters Emergency Appeal has raised is not reaching the area where it's needed most, which is southern Somalia?
No, I think the agencies are making difficult but realistic choices about who they can help, when and how, and they have balanced the use of DEC money with their own resources to do the best to scale up in this awful circumstances.
Yet the fact remains that much of southern Somalia is a no-go zone, and Médecins Sans Frontières worries that large sums are being spent elsewhere on those least affected. We have to treat the giving public like adults, the MSF president told me. What began as a drought, he said, is now a man-made political crisis, which needs to be resolved inside Somalia itself.